Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today in Death Guard Tactics I'm looking at the Death Guard versus White Scars battle report, a 650 points Crusade post-battle analysis, and it's a combat patrol size. We're still playing even for 650 points, so let's get started. So today I'm continuing the narrative of the Crusade. So we have reached 650 points combat patrols in the Crusade. If you want to find previous information of the Crusade, our house rules, the previous battles, the armies in more detail, if you're interested, you can watch the previous videos, parts 1 through 5. So in this part, Death Guard face off with the White Scars for 650 points game. And also I will be covering the Death Guard Crusade Plague now with a new codex. When you start a Crusade army, the Death Guard, your force gets a randomly designed plague, a custom plague that it can affect on the opponents. So let's get started. So looking at the 650 points army list, this is the Death Guard list after the upgrades from winning the game versus the Eldar. So the main the patrol here is led by the Malignant Plaguecaster, which is upgraded, let's say, to the teeth now, being a psychic monster. So he has so in the Wretched Plague Company, I've given him the Relic of Demon's Favor, and I've upgraded him with a sevenfold blessing. So he knows 3 powers, can still cast 2, and he can reroll 1 test per turn. And with the Demon's Favor, he's doing more mortal wounds as a pestilential fallout. So he's doing D3 mortal wounds to the closest enemy within 12 inches. And he also has the Arch Contaminator Warlord trait. He has the Miasma of Pestilence, Curse of the Leper, and Gift of Plagues, the 3 abilities he knows. And in the last battle, I got him a Crusade Relic, the Conversion Field, giving him a 4+ invul save. And so this would help his survivability. Then we have the troops. Is the 5 Plague Marines have been doing a good job in all the games so far. The champion has the fist and power fist and plasma gun. It's from the easy to build models, which are really good, I think. There is 1 Blight Launcher guy, 1 Flail of Corruption, and the rest are bolters. They have been upgraded with a trait rerolling ones to hit. Then we have the Foul Blight Spawn. He has the relic Revolting Stensvats. He's upgraded with the Pathogen Viscous Death to give strength 8 to his weapon, and rerolling the number of shots can come really in handy. He's upgraded his weapon. I rolled for weapon upgrade, and I got that the Plague Sprayer is now damage 3, so he's significantly increasing his power output. And then the heavy support, Plagueverse Crawler, so far very instrumental in all the games with Entropy Cannons and Slugger. His weapon upgrade to the mortar is +1 to hit, so hitting on 2 pluses, and the battle trait for the whole unit is rerolling hits of 1, so really increasing the shooting efficiency of the Plagueverse Crawler. And the Death Shroud Terminators that joined in the 650 points, 3 guys. They gained a battle rank here, and they have also reroll ones to hit, which can come in handy in melee. The opponents are the White Scars, so their army is led by the chaplain on the bike. So he has the Champion of Humanity Warlord trait. He's upgraded also the trait Master Rider. He has the Benediction of Fury relic, giving him more damage in close combat. He knows the Litany of Hate and the Canticle of Hate, and he has a Crusade relic, giving him +1 strength and a 5+ Feel No Pain. So he feels a bit old Death Guardy with the 5+ Feel No Pain. And he also has a 4+ invul save, so quite durable unit. 5 Assault Intercessors as the troops, 4 Aggressors. They have the battle trait to deny the witch, so they could deny one of the psychic powers of the Plaguecaster. And then in the heavy support, the new addition, 5 Eradicators looking out for blood, their first game in this Crusade. So before I start talking about the battle, let's talk about the Death Guard custom plague. So when starting a Death Guard Crusade force, you roll 3 dice to determine the specific plague that your army can spread. And the warlord of your army is the plague carrier of the plague, and you can add more characters later on. Up to 3 can become carriers of the plague if you spend virulence points and requisition points. And to get virulence point, you need to achieve certain agendas, and we haven't started using those agendas yet, so I cannot get so many virulence points at the moment. So what I rolled was a hemorrhaging, ravaging buboes. So it was a really good combo actually. So the first word here tells you how to inflict the custom plague. So here at the end of the movement phase, you roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 3 inches of the plague carrier model. So in this case, it will be my warlord, my plague caster. On a 4+, that enemy unit is contaminated. And what does the contamination do? Then I rolled for ravaging. So it says when a unit becomes contaminated, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. And then at the start of our own command phase, each contaminated unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So this this is quite useful. It's like a good extra mortal wounds. The playcaster already can do a lot of mortal wounds with his psychic power. Now he can do something in his movement phase, contaminating them, and then the opponent will be still getting mortal wounds if they cannot get rid of it. And how can they get rid of it? Then this is the third word, this is the buboes, and then it's at the end of the opponent's movement phase. They roll a dice for every contaminated enemy that had the models move at least 7 inches this phase. This is what the book says. In Wikipedia it says 2 inches, but the book says 7 inches. And then on a 2+, that unit is no longer contaminated. So it's quite easy. Let's say if the units move a lot, they can get rid of it quite successfully with a 2+, easily with a 2+, but they have to move 7 inches, and that can be very difficult for some units if they are locked in combat or if they need to advance. So their applicability will be greatly reduced if they try to run away to avoid the mortal wound. So really a nice custom plague here. And then you can also spend virulence points to modify this, some of those, but right now I'm really happy with this combination here. So the mission we will be playing, the White Scars and the Death Guard, we took it from a Pierce the Veil Crusade mission book in the Pariah Nexus. So we rolled for the regroup mission, and this is a very interesting deployment zone. There are no objectives in this one. There is a regrouping zone in the center, and then the deploy zones are split. So one side gets these 2, and the other side goes those 2. And when you do when you deploy, you have to put, when you deploy the first time you deploy a unit, you need to place 1 unit here and 1 here. And then next time 1 here and 1 here. And then if you have an odd, even amount, you can select the last unit where it should be. And how do you score points? At the end of each player's turn, you get, if you have a unit, 1 or more units wholly within the regrouping zone, at the end of your turn, you get 10 points. And if the opponent had some units within the regrouping zone and you destroy that unit, you get 10 points more for a maximum of 20 points per turn, starting from turn 2. And then at the end of the game, the army with most units in the regrouping zone scores an additional 20 victory points. So the Crusade agendas and the victory bonus, if you win this battle, a character at the end of the game that is within the regrouping zone can get an additional battle trait of their choice. So it's quite good if we can get the character here and get a bonus, let's say free upgrade. The Crusade agendas we selected for the game. For the Death Guard, I selected Kingslayer, 3 XP for killing the enemy warlord. There were no vehicles, or there was not super good agendas here, so I just took the one to get 3 XP for killing the enemy warlord. The White Scars selected the Reaper agenda, which gives 2 XP for the unit with most killed units, so at least 1 unit would get this this benefit, or 1 unit can get this quite certain outcome. So with this out of the way, we started the deployment. So the White Scars were the defender, and they selected these sides here, top right and bottom left, and I had the other sides here. and they selected to deploy the Eradicators outside of the game. So they used the encirclement white scars stratagem, which says that in turn 2 and forward they can arrive from any battlefield edge. So it's very tactically it's difficult to defend against 5 Eradicators coming from anywhere on the board edges shooting. So I had just to take that into my calculations. And then the deployment was that the aggressors were on the top right and the assault intercessors were on the bottom left, and then the chaplain follows the aggressors on the top left, and they are both inside the ruins in cover and trying to avoid line of sight. So in my deployment, we deployed, of course, 2 units at a time, let's say. So we ended up in my deployment, I had the Death Shroud and the Foul Blightspawn. You can see them, they are inside this ruin on the top left, and on the other side we have the Plague Marines, the Plague Burst Crawler to face the biggest threat, the Eradicator, the aggressors, and the chaplain on this side, and then the Plague Caster also to confront the enemy warlord if they come out on this side. And so yeah, as I said, I wanted to have the Plague Burst Crawler close to the aggressors and the Plague Caster, and so due to the difference in the Crusade points, the White Scar starts with 6 command points, -1 for encirclement, so they have 5 command points, and I started with 3 command points. And the Death Guard, again, I won the dice roll and I got the first turn. So let's go over to Death Guard turn 1. So in the turn 1 Death Guard, the strategy for this game is quite tricky. Maybe I was thinking dash quickly and take control of the center, or maybe wait and see a little bit, or it's a bit difficult because if you go maybe very early in the center and everything you get crossfire, maybe you would be losing victory points. So it was a bit difficult to see what to do, and the opponent was quite well hidden, so it was difficult to get a lot of shots in. But the Plague Marines could see through some windows in this ruin into this ruin, and there were some windows here. So the Plague Marines, they were able to see to fire on the assault intercessors, and just at 24 inches, I let them wait in the ruin with a Plague Caster. The Plague Burst Crawler couldn't see any target, but he moved forward to try to close the lines of fire. If the aggressors and the chaplain run to the center, he could see them, or if they come out and charge him, that would be good to tie them down, hopefully, and the Plague Marines can then do their thing. And the Death Shroud and the Foul Blightspawn advance out on this side. It's not so many threats here. The assault intercessors, so they advance out. The Death Shroud trying to look at the center. They cannot shoot their Plague Gauntlets, it's too far away on their pistols, but the Foul Blightspawn can shoot through the window. And then in the psychic phase, the Plague Caster tries to cast Miasma of Pestilence on the Plague Burst Crawler, but it's denied by the aggressors that have the denied battle trait from the Crusade. Then the Plague Burst Crawler opens up the shooting. I use the mortar on the hidden aggressors, and I use the Disgusting Force stratagem, always useful to use against Wound 3 models. And the White Scars use the Transhuman Physiology for 1 command point. And in the shooting, 1 aggressor was killed, and the chaplain, I think, got 1 mortal wound as a fallout, being close to the aggressors. The Foul Blightspawn and the Plague Marines shoot at the intercessors, and I think it was the Foul Blightspawn killing 1. He didn't roll very high number of shots through the window here. So in the turn 1 for the White Scars, the aggressors and the chaplain don't want to stay and wait to take more punishment from the Plague Burst Crawler mortar fire. They advance out of the ruins to be able to charge the Plague Burst Crawler, so they come very close. So they only have, automatic charge roll. The assault intercessors are getting back from this windowed ruin, trying to keep some distance from the Foul Blightspawn, maybe also get some distance to the Plague Marines. In the shooting phase, the 3 aggressors shoot everything they have on the Plague Marines hidden in the ruin, but fail to make any wounds. They have quite a lot of attacks, so it's like 30 attacks from this squad. But the Plague Marines here are in cover. The weapon is strength 4 versus our toughness 5, so not wounding very efficiently. And the cover for the Plague Marines inside the light cover gives them a 2+ save. So basically, only a few shots coming through, and those were saved by the Plague Marines. The aggressors and the chaplain then make the charge on the Plagueverse Crawler. The aggressors only make a couple of wounds to the Plagueverse Crawler. They have damaged 2 weapons, and that don't help them a lot against the Plagueverse Crawler with disgusting resilience. But the chaplain makes good damage on the Plagueverse Crawler with his damage 3 relic weapon, and he brings the Plagueverse Crawler down to 4 wounds. So definitely a bracketed Plagueverse Crawler, and very wounded, let's say, and exposed to this. So in this game, the chaplain really did a lot of wounds on the Plagueverse Crawler, but the Plagueverse Crawler survives the first onslaught here. So in the turn 2 Death Guard, so normally the turn 2 for Death Guard is quite crucial, instrumental for the game, and I'm knowing that the Eradicators will show up next time. So now it's the time to try to take out as many of these White Scars as possible. So the Plaguecaster and his force steps up to the plate. The Plagueverse Crawler falls back to give space for the Plaguecaster and the Plague Marines to come close. I was debating to try to keep the Plagueverse Crawler to shoot the weapons in engagement range on the chaplain, but I would only be shooting or wounding on a 5+, so I decided to fall back to give room for my Plague Marines and the Plaguecaster here. And the Foul Blightspawn moves off from the Death Shroud. He goes here to get line of sight to shoot the Assault Intercessors, and the Death Shroud don't have so much to do here. They try to come to the middle. And here I had to use a command point reroll. I wanted really to get my Plaguecaster within 3 inches of the opponent models, and I got it with a command point reroll for the advance roll. So I just managed to get within 3 inches of both units. So this that has 2 effects. First, they are now in -1 toughness contagion of the Plaguecaster, but now I can also spread the plague of the specific plague of the Crusade, and I got a good 4+ rolls here for both units. Both units were contaminated by this plague, and I rolled D3 mortal wounds for both, killing one of the aggressors and wounding the chaplain. And then in the psychic phase, the Plaguecaster successfully casts Curse of the Leper on the chaplain. So I roll 7 dice that need to hit 5s and 6s. I got a couple of those. Then with a pestilential fallout from the Wretched, I do a bit more mortal wounds, and basically the chaplain was killed by this sickness and the mortal wounds by the Plaguecaster. And then I think the Smite and the Fallout ability followed on the aggressors, killing 1 more of the aggressors, leaving only 1. And then on the other side, the Foul Blightspawn fires up the Plague Sprayer, using, I think, the Viscous Death. I got many shots, and he wipes out all the Assault Intercessors left uncovered in the open here, so this unit disappears. Finally, the Plague Marines charge the last aggressor and just kill him with the flails and the knives and everything. So basically, after turn 2 of the Death Guard, the board now is empty of all the White Scars on the table are destroyed, and basically now the board looks like this: a complete empty board from White Scars. Only the Death Guard are staying here. So with the White Scars now in turn 2, the Eradicators arrive on the board, determined to avenge their fallen brothers. They come in this ruin here, and they target the wounded Plagueverse Crawler. 10 Melta shots fired within 12 inches of the target. D6 + 2 damage, and basically there is nothing to do here. The Plagueverse Crawler just goes up in flames. But that was also the only thing the Eradicators could do in this turn. So following up on the turn 3 Death Guard and the end of the game, the Plaguecaster is now determined to fry the Eradicators, and I advance the Plaguecaster to come as close as possible to the Eradicators. I use the Plague Marines move 5 inches towards the ruin, and they will have an 8 to 9 inch charge to come into moving up on on the ruin to get the charge in. But in the psychic phase, the Plaguecaster starts by casting Gift of Plagues on himself, and this succeeds, and it puts the Eradicators inside the -1 toughness contagion. So I couldn't get it with a 6-inch bubble, but with a 12-inch bubble, all the Eradicators are within the contagion range. And the fallout following this psychic power deals a few mortal wounds on one of them. And then Curse of the Leper, really good one, 7 dice with now toughness 4 Eradicators here. I do 4 mortal wounds on that and 3 more from the fallout. So basically this kills two Eradicators and some are wounded. There are 3 Eradicators left. Then the Plague Marines shoot and kill one of the Eradicators with a blind launcher. They make their charge and they take out the last 2 Eradicators with the Flail of Corruption playing a major part here. 6 attacks hitting and yeah, basically wiping out the last White Scar resistance. So the game ends here with a major Death Guard victory. We played turn 4 and 5, and both the Plaguecaster and the Foul Blight Spawn managed to come to the center to be eligible to get the Victor bonus. So here is the table at the end. So post-game analysis and key moments. So before the game, my main worry was the 5 Eradicators and facing 10 Melta shots coming from any battlefield edge. But as they didn't start on the board, I didn't have to worry too much to move out and try to take out other units. And getting the first turn here really helped because I could deal with the rest of the army before the Eradicators turned up. The most valuable unit for this game was clearly the Malignant Plaguecaster. He dealt so many mortal wounds with the custom Crusade Blade. The Curse of the Leper in combination with a -1 toughness contagion is really strong. The fallout ability from the Wretched giving D3 mortal wounds when he successfully casts power adds a lot of extra mortal wounds and severely crippled the enemy. And the key moment I think also was the Plague Scroller surviving the round of melee with Aggressors and Chaplain, and the followed up of the Plaguecaster being able to come and spread the Crusade Plague, killing a lot of the high value models from the enemy. And then the Plague Marines, of course, have also been performing well, taking out the enemies in melee. And Foul Blight Spawn, he found good shooting again, and Viscous Death helped re-rolling the number of shots. We discussed also the game afterwards here. Could the White Scars have done something differently? I would guess that it would be probably better to deploy the Eradicators on the board, but then they would have, maybe the Mortar would take some of them out. But maybe in this scenario, the left units here were too exposed before the Eradicators arrived. So as in the previous game, all Death Guard units performed their parts well in the shooting phase, in the fighting phase, in the psychic phase, especially now in the psychic phase and the mortal wounds, and again winning by a powerful knockout turn 2. So really happy for all the units and the abilities so far, and the brutality of the Death Guard in medium close quarters is terrifying it's terrifying to see how efficient and deadly they can be on the battlefield. So after the game, we updated the Crusade rosters and the upgrades. I had to pass an out of action roll for the Plague Scroller. I didn't roll a 1, so that's good. And I haven't decided and rolled for the upgrades yet, but my thoughts are that the Plaguecaster killed the enemy Warlord to Nurgle's delight. So he got the agenda, gaining a 3 experience point, bringing him up to 10. But more importantly, because he killed the Warlord, I can spend a requisition point to give him a Chaos boon, and you can now get a character up to 3 Chaos boons. If you roll a duplicate, the character can be transformed to a Chaos spawn, but the first Chaos boon, of course, is not dangerous, so I was thinking to roll that and see what I could get. Winning the battle allows me to give either the Plaguecaster or the Foul Blight Spawn a battle trait extra. I'm thinking here to do it on the Plaguecaster. And then I have 1 unit to mark for greatness. I'm thinking to mark the Plague Scroller for mark for greatness. It would go up a rank, so I could get I would consider either a weapon upgrade for the entropy cannon or another battle trait, maybe giving something better saves or giving lost wounds some more durability on the plague burst crawler. But so this is my stats increasing, the units, more units killed, experience increasing. But as I said, I haven't rolled for all the updates from this battle. And then the white scars. All the units were destroyed, so they had to pass their out of action roll, and they succeeded in that. The Eradicators were marked for greatness and succeeding in the agenda for killing 1 unit, so they got the 2 XP and they gained the blooded rank. The battle trait is rolled for in the Space Marines infantry table with some reroll. Finally, a +1 weapon skill was rolled, and not so beneficial for the Eradicators. They would have preferred some buffing to their shooting, but this is how it stands for the white scars before the white scars face the Eldar. So here some post-battle narrative. The Death Guard has been victorious against the opponents again at 650 points, and Ilarion and his men are proceeding with their plans. Okay, I will not read this, but if you want, you can pause and read some of the narrative here. And then final thoughts. The Death Guard is running rampant in this crusade, having 4 out of 4 victories and tabling the opponents in 3 of the games. So this small patrol of the Wretched Plague Company has shown to be a well-rounded and well-oiled main machine, packing a huge punch for 650 points. Well represented in the psychic phase with the plague caster with wretched upgrades. He can do so many mortal wounds. It's really terrifying to watch him in the psychic phase. In the shooting phase, the plague burst crawler with the mortar, the disgusting force, the entropy cannons can do a good job. The foul blight spawn adds a lot of damage now with his upgraded plague sprayer. Even the plague marines, the blight launcher guy always seems to kill 1 or 2 models. And then we have in the fighting, the Death Shroud and the Plague Marines can do really a lot of damage, especially helped by the Foul Blight Spawn's fight to not allow the enemies that are charging to fight first. And then the durability of the whole squad is quite high. We have the Plague Burst Crawler with toughness 8. Everything has disgusting resilience. The Death Shroud can bodyguard the characters, etc. And it hasn't hurt my army that I have been rolling very well for all battle honors and upgrades I have received so far. All of them have been very useful, making the army a bit bonkers, to be honest. So next up in the Crusade, we will be increasing the rosters to 800 points, and we have started discussing if we need to make tweaks to make the games a bit more balanced. The games, at least these 2 games, have been quite lopsided, and it's fun to win, but not fun if the game is not let's say closely fought. Would be a more fun experience. So maybe I will have to give the Death Guard a short rest for a couple of games. Let's see. So I have started to look at my secondary Ultramarines army just rotting on the shelf. Maybe I should make a small Crusade list and take those to the battle to see how they would fare. So this concludes the video. What do you think about this battle and the Crusade list? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe to the channel, where I will be bringing you more Death Guard content and also other Warhammer content. If you want to further support my efforts, please visit my Patreon page. And with these words, General Yanis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.